And we are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream from the Men of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. Today, we are going to respond to this video right here from the roommates, a huge blow up channel that has basically come on, on the scene this past year. And they made a very important video. Well, at least the topic was important. And it's called, Should You Have Sex on the First Date? And I want to respond to it and share with you guys some of my thoughts surrounding relationships with women and what our philosophy is on this channel, because there's a lot of new people on this channel these days. So please comment down below about your thoughts and also subscribe and like this video. Let's get going. By the way, I'm the only person disliking this video. I thought that was pretty cool. Let's go.
The show, back with you for another video. Hopefully you all have been having a good holiday season filled with love, laughter, friends, and family, and of course, the Roommates podcast. Once again, thank you so much for rocking with us, leveling up with us for the entire year. Now, this topic I have been wanting to do for a while now, but we have been on a different wave, and we felt like it was more important things to talk about, so it wasn't addressed. And a lot of women been asking me these questions, where it's be one-on-ones, where it's be Clubhouse, Instagram DMs, comments, friends, phone calls, you name it. Wherever I have been asked that, I have been asked. So the question is, hey, Chris, should I have sex with this guy on the first date? And I feel like
Immediately, his answer should have been, no, don't do it. Ever, okay, on the first date, or on the second, or on the third, or on the 10th, okay? And I'm gonna keep going through with me. You'll understand why do I say that? Why am I so completely against what this guy is saying to these women in terms of, he's not quite sure. Okay, we're gonna get into that. Hold on.
Society points us to an answer. When somebody asks me that question, the first thing I think of is the Drake line. First night she gonna let me because we grown. And I don't know what the kids are doing nowadays, these little 23 to 18-year-olds. I don't know if they go to Pound Town on the first night of the night. I don't know. But I can share my experiences. And I had a relationship where the first time we...
Just a quick thing. He says, I don't know what the young folks are doing. How should that be part of an answer? Like, who cares what the majority of people are doing? It's a principle, okay? You either do it or you don't. Like, it's kind of like, it's either bad for you, or for one of you at least, or it's good. You should do it. Okay, so which one is it? It's not like, if that and the other lines up. No, there's a principle to be learned here. What is truth? That's the question to ask. Okay, if a woman asks me this question, should I have sex on the first date? Well, what is the truth? Because that's the most important thing. The truth will always set us free, and we want freedom. So truth, the definition made on this channel, is that which works in the long run and in the big scheme of things. Meaning, does it work to have sex on the first date? Okay? Does it work in the long run in the big scheme of things? Meaning, should everyone do it? How would the world look like if everyone, by principle, okay, literally did that? How would the world look like? That's what you should ask yourself. Just like I said in my last video, what if 1 billion people did that? Okay? Then you begin to get an answer of where I'm going with this. Is it good for society? Is it good for the women? Is it good for the men? Is it good for the children? For the grandchildren? For the great-grandchildren? Because if it is, then yes, you should have sex on the first date. But is it good for the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren and the great-great-great-grandchildren? Probably not. So let's keep going. What he says.
We had sex the first night. Obviously, I'm a single man.
That was his
first time we can share my experiences. And I had a relationship where the first time we met, we had sex the first night. Obviously, I'm a single man. Relationship didn't last. Now,
relationship did not last. Why? Why did it not last? Why aren't you telling us why it didn't last? Every single time a relationship does not last, it is 100% of the time the man's fault. No one is going to tell you this. I will tell you the truth about relationships. It is 110% of the time your fault as a man if the relationship does not last. This is relationships, short-term, long-term. This is marriage. Always, 110% of the time, your fault as the man. Why? Because we practice extreme ownership. That's what we do. What is extreme ownership? It's basically that you take full responsibility for whatever happens in your environment and whatever happens in the lives of those that are around you. Because everyone's lives, if they're affected by something, that affects you. And if you want to have happiness, joy, and like continual bliss forever, you need to make sure that the people around you have joy, happiness, and bliss all of the time. Because if they're unhappy and they're miserable and they spend time with you, you're going to be affected by that. Okay? So we got to take that into consideration. Let's keep going.
On the other side, I have had a relationship where we didn't have sex at all. At all. I've been dating for many months. Me as a single man, it didn't work out at all.
Didn't work out either. Interesting. Why? It's his fault.
So what is the answer? Now, one of the main pushback is with women when I ask them, why don't you want to have sex on the first date? And it's just me out of curiosity. I just want to know their answers. You know, they don't want to be looked at differently. They don't want to seem like a ho, ho, ho. You know, they don't want to be judged, et cetera, et cetera. Remember?
Okay, just a quick thing here. Every woman, if she has a fantastic connection with you, okay, and that connection literally is something that you as a man can't create, which is horrible, by the way, because if you have a mindset of, I want to sleep with the woman on the first date, and then you learn the necessary things that needs to be learned in order for you to bed her, that is possible. And if she does have that extreme connection with you, she will sleep with you on the first date. Because she's trying, like, the very fact that she went on a first date with you is a sign that she wants to explore where this is going to go, right? So if you lead her in the direction of sex on the first night, because of an amazing connection that you managed to create as an environment for her that night, you are putting her in an environment where she can easily be seduced towards it. Very often, men say that it is women who are the gatekeepers of sex. Not really, if the man knows what he's doing. The majority of the time, though, 99% of men don't know what they're doing, so that never happens. Okay, but you got to understand that as a society, the way that we're evolving, the way that we're, evolution of things with the internet and everything that we're learning online, men over time will learn how to create that environment so that they can sleep with anyone on the first date. That's going to be a very dangerous time when all men, okay, or a lot of men learn how to be players and screw women over. We don't want that as a society, because that's going to produce a worse and worse and worse generation over time when it comes to the kids, the grandkids, and the great-grandkids. We want to create a society that works, where everyone is happy all of the time, no one is miserable, and no one is heartbroken. Okay, heartbreaks lead to misery and depression. Why would we want to have that for anyone, especially those that we date, whether past, present, or future? So, man, this is such bad advice that he's saying. Like, okay, so what I was going to say about in terms of women, if they find a fantastic guy they are now creatures. If they become seduced to do that on the first night, they will. They want to. Okay, like, but very often it's a man's insecurities and like his femininity that causes a woman to be hesitant and not quite sure if this guy is worth doing it with. Okay, so she basically goes on a second date or on third date or a fourth date. Very often though, you'll find that women, if you are how can I put this? Women are sensual creatures. Women are sexual creatures. They want things to happen fast. Okay? There's a reason why men are able to sleep with them on the first date, or sometimes within 30 minutes. Like, it's insane. But this is how women are designed. They're now creatures. So we've got to understand that once they're in a position where they feel something, they're going to act on it. Okay? They're going to follow their emotions. The master of women is always and will always remain emotion. So if a man can create that emotion in her, she will follow it. But a good thing is that men haven't figured out how to create that emotion. And me, I don't want that to happen. Okay? Now, I'm telling you guys this information, but I'm hoping that those that are subscribed to this channel are different type of guys. Men of high value who actually care, okay? They choose to care. Now, men of high value can choose to care and choose to not care because we have choice. But men of high value choose to care for those that are in their vicinity because they want everyone around them to be happy. Do you understand my drift? So basically, you don't want anything bad to happen to the women that you date. Why would you want that? That's ridiculous. Okay? So if you are a good guy, a good person, then I suggest that you never, ever sleep with someone on the first date. Because you don't know if you're going to be in her life for a long period of time. If you haven't seen my video, Casual Sexual Relationships is Russian Roulette for Women, I recommend that you go over and check that video out. Why? Because that video explains the 3 different outcomes of a sexual relationship. One, okay, and I'll briefly explain them here. There's just 3 things that can happen. The sex is bad, the sex is mediocre, and the sex is fantastic, okay? Sex being bad, okay, the woman is not going to want to see this guy again, most probably, right? Because he's inexperienced, and if it's, especially if it's in the beginning of a relationship, she hasn't seen enough for that to be worthy investment of her time, if that makes sense. But in terms of her psyche, this is the best possible sexual relationship a woman can have. But who wants a bad sexual encounter? Do men want that? Do women want that? No, no one wants that. So basically, a bad sexual encounter is a lose-lose for everyone, but it's the best in terms of women's psychology. Because that means that the woman can leave the man behind and she's not rejected. The sexual experience was a rejection, but that's something that she can get over, if that makes sense. Like that allows her to at least not be connected to this guy who's a loser. Does that make sense? And then you move on to the mediocre aspect, which is basically kind of the same thing. It's a bad sexual experience. It's mediocre, so basically medium. It was okay, it was nice, you know, but it's not the real deal. It's not the real thing, if that makes sense. So basically here it could go either or. It could be like, well, it kind of is worth exploring more. You know, I don't have anyone else. This is what women think. And so basically I should probably go on another date. Maybe he'll improve over time. Let's see what happens, blah, blah, blah. This can lead somewhere, but eventually 95% of the time, relationships don't work out. Okay? And you can learn how to build relationships that last without ever having been in one. I'll teach you how. Okay? It's not that hard once you understand it. How to retain women. You can retain women 100% of the time if you understand women. Understand the woman and you'll understand the world. You don't need to date to get experience in order for you to understand how to retain a woman. Okay? Or to find out what you like. Women don't need that either. The moment they're obsessed with the guy, there are ways to produce an environment where she's obsessed for life. Okay? Or in other words, she's obsessed every now for the rest of her life, because women are not, lifetime creatures. They're in the now creatures, meaning that you need to create an environment where the now is conducive for long-term commitment, if that makes sense. Okay, so, and then the last one, this is the worst part for a woman's psychology. And this is where a woman actually has a wonderful, fantastic, amazing sexual experience. This is your goal as a man whenever you sleep with a woman. Why would you want a mediocre or bad sexual encounter with a woman? You want a fantastic one. So what if you did give her a fantastic relationship or sexual encounter? Well, what happens? Well, guess what? She's going to want to see you again and again and again and again. What if you now suck in terms of retaining women and you don't understand female nature, and worst of all, which is probably, which is what 99% of guys do when they're single, they blame women. So what if you blame her? Eventually, most often, the relationship is not going to work. So what happens? It was 100% your fault, but if you leave her, she's the one who got rejected. This is sexual rejection on a grand scale because you gave her pleasure. You gave her a great, fantastic sexual encounter. That is the worst possible time to date a woman. To break up with a woman, because you give her long-term psychological damage that's going to affect her for life if she doesn't find a guy that's better than you, who basically crushes you in terms of how high value he is. That's the only form of reset button she has, if she finds a guy that's better than you, and in fact better than all the guys that she slept with, who she had fantastic sexual encounters with. It screws women up psychologically. The more partners they have, the more likely it is that they're going to have fantastic sexual encounters with guys, which is going to screw them over. Which destroys who? Who does it destroy? Does it destroy the man who basically slept around with a bunch of women? In my opinion, yes, it does, and it will. But I'm not going to talk about that for now. I want you first right now to understand how it destroys everyone that is linked to her. So that you remember this, that the moment you're trying to get laid with the woman and trying to get a good sexual encounter with the woman, you're screwing over yourself, yes. But you're screwing over, most of the time, the woman psychologically, okay? She gets screwed over, but it also ruins her future man's life. The man that she marries, the man that she's trying to set up a family with. That's horrible, okay? Because he committed, and he got screwed over because he committed to a woman who was psychologically damaged, okay? I'm not saying that women are damaged goods. I'm not saying that they're low value because of the number of sexual partners that they've had. I'm saying that you as a man are responsible if she does have issues from those encounters. Okay? And you have that as a stain on your reputation and a stain on your integrity and you being a man of high value. Why would you want that on your soul, on you? Okay? And this is not even a religious thing. What happens if that woman's future relationship with her man kind of sucks? Well, guess what? If obsession equals loyalty, that means that not being obsessed creates disloyalty, which means that one of them probably are going to cheat on each other, or they're just going to break up, and then that was that family. Well, imagine if they had 1, 2, or 3 kids. What's going to happen to those kids that are the product of a divorced marriage? Why? Because she slept around, and because maybe even he slept around. Very often, the guys that marry women in their 30s haven't been that much around. Okay? So, man, if I could just explain to you guys properly all of this stuff, there's so much to say. But let's keep going and see what he says.
Those are their answers, not mine. And I'd be like, okay, so when you talking to this guy and things are going well, do you bring them home? They'd be like, yeah. Well, do you take them to your room? They'd be like, yeah. I said, well, are clothes coming off? They'd be like, yeah. And I'm saying, you don't have sex with him? They'd be like, nah, we don't. I'm like, so you just go tease the brother and pump fake him and then expect him to be like, all right, that's cool. I said, that's tough. Now, I don't condone pump faking women. It's tough now. It's tough on men to be pump faking us. So we have to make sure we understand that part.
Do you notice what he just did? I don't know if you noticed what he just did. Most people won't. But he just, in one split second right there, made women the leaders in the relationship. Made the women the leaders in the sexual department. Women are not the leaders, guys. It's actually a turnoff when the woman is a leader. Women want leaders, but they don't want to be the leader. Okay? If men don't initiate sexual relationships, the woman will not allow it to happen. Okay? The man literally has to physically initiate sexual encounters in order for her to participate in one. Okay? Because that's how she's wired. Women don't initiate very often unless they need it. Okay? But that's an anomaly. The rule is that the man instigates it and initiates it. So if you don't do that, you're actually allowing things to happen in a good way, okay? But he right now just explained that, woman, well, why are you leading this guy into the bedroom and not sleeping with him? Bro, she's just going with what she's feeling at any given moment in time. The man is responsible for how the environment is. The man is responsible for going into her house, to going into her room, and taking off the clothes. That's not her fault. That's the man's fault for allowing that to happen. Okay? Because she's emotional. She has way more intense emotions than the man. So the man has to be the leader because he's more consistent. Does that make sense? Let's keep going.
Now, on the other end, women also say, well, Chris, if I wait too long, I feel like I'm pushing him away. I feel like that he doesn't think I am attracted to him.
If a man doesn't want you, if you don't put out on the first few dates, he's a loser. Okay? Women should have a high price. Don't you want, men, don't you want your woman to have a high price? Do you want her to have a low price, a low bar of entry? Like, you're a guy who's basically struggling with semen retention. You're struggling with producing anything worthwhile in your life, maybe building a business or anything like that. You're still being distracted by women, and you're trying to sleep with the woman. What if she actually does give it up to you? What does that tell you about what she has done in the past or what she's done will do in the future? Like, the fact that she's willingly giving it up early on is not her fault. It is the environment that you created. Okay? Or that the men that she has slept with in the past has created. Or that her father created by not properly unburdening his daughter and taking care of her and protecting her so that she would not fall into the hands of guys who suck. Okay? I'm basically saying that women, society cannot afford to put this responsibility on women to be the gatekeepers of sex. When a man, very often people say that, sperm is cheap, but eggs are expensive. So basically, women are the ones who choose in the sexual market. Well, that depends. That depends on whose sperm it is and how often he ejaculates. That's what I always say. Okay? Because if a man ejaculates less than once a month, guess what? His sperm is actually more expensive than a woman's egg. Do you see what I'm saying? You want to be a man of high value whose sperm is more expensive than the woman's egg that you're with. Because you don't ejaculate and you take things seriously and you don't sleep around. That makes you massively high value. That no woman is able to get inside your pants. Okay? You're the one who sets the price of your goods. And you don't want to be with the woman who has basically made it cheap. Right? And it's not her fault that it's cheap. It's the other man's fault that have been in her life that has made it cheap. So how can we raise this value? Well, basically, don't buy it. Okay? Don't buy the cheap goods. Okay? And set the bar, set the standard of voluntary celibacy. I'm voluntary celibate. You know, that's what I want you to have in your head. So I want women who are voluntary celibate. Set the standard. Be the leader for what you want in the world, right? Be the change you want to see in the world. You want to be with virgins? You want to be with girls that are inexperienced in bed so that you guys can get your experience together? Then you choose to be inexperienced and voluntary celibate for a time until you're ready to commit for a lifelong commitment. Seriously.
Or I'm not interested. And recently I had a story where...
By the way, I'm probably going to have tons of people unsubscribing. I don't give a rat's ass. Literally, I don't. Because I only want guys on this channel who truly care about making the world a better place. That's the guys I want, because those are the men that are truly high value. If you don't want to make the world a better place and you literally want to make it worse, then just leave this channel, unsubscribe right now, dislike, and leave, okay? Comment down below why you disagree. But literally, because the world has enough of you, okay? There are few men, few and far between, who are willing to live the voluntary celibate lifestyle, in order for them to create a better world. The more women you sleep around, the worse you're making the world. The less women you sleep around with, and the more you commit, the more you're making the world a better place. I'm going to finish at the end explaining my commitment confidence matrix. Okay, so stick around to the end so I can share that with you guys.
Somebody wasn't really pushing forward like that, being respectful, making sure they didn't cross those boundaries, and the other person felt like they wasn't attracted to them and called off the relationship. So I can see both sides. So what's the answer? Where can we meet in the middle? What, Chris, what do I do? You know what? That's a great question. And women, you have to understand is that you all decide when to have sex in the relationship.
No, the man decides. Okay, and hopefully he decides, and I'm not saying that the man is controlling and the man decides. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the man should lead, okay, and have her voluntarily follow. Okay, do you understand what I mean? That shows that he is the man of high value, and that's what women want. They don't want men of low value. Men of low value follow women around. They're beta orbiters, okay? They're like, oh, when is this girl gonna be available? I hope I can have sex with her. Oh, what should I... They're like talking to their friends, okay, who are guys. They're like, oh, what should I text this girl, man? Like, can you help me figure it out what to say? Because, I really want to sleep with her. Losers. Do you understand what I mean? Men of high value don't sleep around. They don't. Men of low value try to get in women's pants immediately because they can't wait, because they're impatient, and because they are hypersexual. Massive ejaculation continuous because of watching porn or because of this, that, and the other. That shows you that a man is low value. A man who doesn't need sex and who can go years without sex shows you that he has control, self-control. And if he has self-control in that department, which is the hardest department for men to have control in, he will have control in his financial spending habits. He will have control in his businesses. He'll have control in his environment, that he's able to create an amazing environment for women as a whole. Do you understand? Only a man of low value does not have control over his sexual urges.
You are driving the car. It is up to you. Most men are ready to have sex whenever you are. We stay ready. So
no, low value men stay ready if there's not lifelong commitment. Now, it's different, obviously, once you do get into that lifelong commitment with a woman, okay? With multiple women, I might add, because that's what we teach on this channel. Then a man should always be ready, okay? That's a completely different story. But before then, no, not at all.
So when people usually ask Stefan Speaks, and shout out to Stefan Speaks, our mentor, he usually says, women, if you're going to have sex, make sure that you're ready and make sure you accept the consequences, whatever comes with that. Hopefully I'm not misquoting him. So
Again, he's making women responsible. Women are not responsible for that. They're not, because they follow their emotions. If they have extremely intense emotions, then they're going to do things that probably will have bad long-term consequences. Is that the woman's fault? No, that's the man's fault for providing that environment. So there you have it.
So if it is a man of the night, ghost in the morning, you have to be okay with that. If it's somewhere where y'all have a genuine, loving, my God, great connection, and y'all live happily ever after, then you have to be okay and accept that. Every woman is different and everybody is subjective. So it's mainly women, it's up to you. My overall is women, you do it when you're ready. But
this is a sign of a man who has no understanding of female nature and the consequences of casual sexual relationships. He has no idea, none whatsoever. And I'd be very fascinated to have a live, we can have a live conversation with the roommates about this. I've done reactions on their channel many times, but you know, it is what it is. I still have a small channel.
You keep clear communication with the guy. Let him know what he's signing up for. He has to see the contract and read the fine print. Now, if you are practicing celibacy and you don't tell the brother, and you're going to do that for 1-2 years and you don't say nothing, I think that could be wrong in a sense. You have to have communication.
There is no woman who is dating a guy who's literally dating him or meeting him on a weekly basis, etc., who is voluntary celibate. Okay? The only reason why she's voluntary celibate is because he sucks. Like, literally, he doesn't understand what's going on. He doesn't understand how to, like, do you understand what I mean? He doesn't provide the environment that causes her to feel butterflies and to feel excited, etc., etc. No woman is voluntary celibate. Okay? She's single. It's just, it's not how her nature functions. Now, if she chooses to not be emotionally connected to any man because she wants to be voluntary celibate, then she probably is voluntary celibate. But if she's dating a guy for 2 years on a weekly basis and, you know, going on dates with him, etc., she's not voluntary celibate. Does that mean she's sleeping with other guys? Not necessarily. It's just that there's a lot of baggage there. There's a lot of history there. But in many ways, it's good. It's good, right? If you take all of my video into consideration, that's fantastic. That the man has no idea what he's doing for her psychological, you know, welfare. But yeah, anyway.
He has to know what he's signing up for. Now, if you're one of those things where you kind of just don't know, you wait for the energy, the connection, the emotional to get there, that can be subjective, you let him know that as well. It's fine for whatever you want to do. The guy really likes you and he wants to be with you. He will respect that. But you have to communicate exactly what your plan is so he'll understand. And vice versa too, man. If you are trying to practice celibacy or you are abstinence waiting until marriage, let the woman know too. Everybody need to know what they're signing up for. So everybody come to agreement and be happy.
And be happy, right. Okay, these guys are awesome. They're trying to help men to level up and to create, you know, better men out there. Good on you guys. I really appreciate that you're helping men to put in massive work ethic and to level up in every single area of life. But when it comes to the category of women and teaching women what to do, and then and teaching men like what to do when it comes to women, and that they should date and that they should get involved sexually. Oh my gosh, like I literally see them like use the Bible sometimes in their podcast, and I'm like, what is going on? Like there's like it's like a double you know, it's so double-sided. It's like you can't be preaching that you're developing men of high character and high morals and you know, men of God, and then teach them to have sex on the first date. That's ridiculous. It's, again, this is not from a religious standpoint. It's just from an observation standpoint. Guys, do you not understand religion? Do you like, oh my gosh. Anyway, it is funny. It's hilarious, but it's also absolutely horrific. But other than that, they're doing a fantastic job. So we should, you know, give them a hand for that. Now, I wanted to show you guys this one. Confident, commitment. Okay, let's see. No, boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Confident, non-committed. Non-confident, non-committed, non-confident, committed, confident, committed. That's the men of high value. And let me explain each one. Non-confident, non-committed are basically those guys that cannot get a girlfriend. Like, for the life of them, they're really trying. Like, they're trying so hard, but they're basically involuntary celibates, okay? They exist, and there's a lot of them. Like, we're talking 20, 30, 40% of the population are in that category. And then you've got confident, non-committed. Who are those? They're the players, okay? They're the ones that are sleeping around and have no intention of commitment until they maybe find the right one. But the more they sleep around, the less likely it is that they're going to find the right one because of comparison. Because they're gonna like this part about Julie and this part about, you know, Susan and this part about Wendy or whatever, blah blah blah, and then they're never gonna be able to find a girl who literally has all the best parts of all of these girls. And they end up literally staying single for a very, very long time until they're like, you know, I'm ready to settle, because this player lifestyle, like, it becomes sickening after a while. But then they basically had the lottery of the past where basically they were sleeping around with a bunch of women, and now they're in monogamy, and then monogamy kind of sucks, you know, and from a sexual standpoint it really does, like, and tons of other aspects of monogamy are so difficult that it's like they begin to miss their old lifestyle, okay? But that was also a horrible lifestyle if you think about it. Yeah, I'm looking, you know, back to my fond memories of destroying women's lives. Great. Okay, so that's the players, and women don't want to be around these guys, but usually those are the guys that they fall for. That sucks, but it is the truth. And then you've got, just that should let you know that women are not responsible for their choices when it comes to sexuality. They're not responsible, man. We, as men, are the leaders. We set the tone. We set the standard. We're the ones who basically decide if society is screwed over or not, okay? And we're going to take that one step at a time. Then you got non-confident, committed. Who are those? They're the monogamous feminine guys. Why do I say feminine? Because monogamy makes a man feminine. Okay, the more he spends time with the woman, which is what happens when you get married, when you get connected, the man is now spending a lot of time with estrogen. And he's going to develop more estrogen as a result, and his testosterone will decline. And the fact that she is not massively turned on by him over time, and she loses interest every single time in a monogamous relationship because there's no other women that are kind of chasing him. There's no other women who feel that he's handsome or hot or telling him that. They might be thinking it in secret, but his woman in that marriage never sees it. So she basically feels that she settles because she basically got a guy that no one's interested in. And this is what happens every single relationship, because there's so many problems and so many different areas of life where he's powerless and women are attracted to power. Okay? So this is what's going to happen. He's going to be committed. Why? Because he doesn't have any options. He's married. What are the options? Oh, divorce? No. Because of thousands of years, being responsible meant that you were committed. You stay for the rest of your life with this woman because you want your kids to not be divorced kids, and you also like her. Like, you enjoy spending time with her very often. Even if there are bad times, there are often good times in marriage as well, which means that the guy very often sticks around. And then if he then chooses to divorce her, which him initiating it is like 10% of the time, while women initiate 90% of the time, 110% of the time, okay, it is the man's fault. Because he doesn't know how to create the necessary environment for a woman's emotions to be absolutely amazing all of the time, or 95% of the time, absolutely amazing. And this is what I want to teach you guys. If you want to understand how to be confident, how to be committed, and have both, you can't have that with monogamy. Oh, yeah, you can't. No, you can't. Okay? If you don't understand what I'm talking about, subscribe to the Women of High Value channel, which is my second channel where I teach women about relationships and about their nature. Okay? Female nature is a male science. I'll say that again. Female nature is a male science. Most males haven't figured it out, but it is a male science. Why? Because it is consistent. How can you say that women's emotions are consistent? Women are so unpredictable and so inconsistent. Are they really? No, they're not. If you understand what produces what emotions when in women, they're extremely predictable and they're extremely consistent. You simply need to know her background, and you can figure that out very quickly as soon as she opens her mouth and you ask her some questions. That is not speaking badly about women. That's just my experience, okay? And it's a good thing. Why would the universe create a creature, okay? Okay, why would the universe create women in such a way that it's impossible to understand them, and you'll just simply never understand them? That doesn't make any sense. Okay? Everything in the universe has a reason for it. Everything in the universe has a solution for it. So if there's a problem, and if women create a problem in your life, there's a solution. And the solution is not giving up on the relationship. Giving up on the relationship means that you chose to not learn. Okay? This is one of the biggest reasons why I teach guys to be voluntary celibate. Practice SR, work the 80-hour work week, become rich, okay? Develop your financial foundation, then get coaching on female nature so that you understand everything when it comes to female nature. Trust me, like my clients, this is why they stick around, okay? I like, compared to business, my understanding of female nature is on point. And that's what they want to learn more about, and that's what they're moving towards. Why? Because we teach that one man, a high-value man, will be able to have 3 women. Not just 1, 3. Why 3? Let's look from a societal standpoint. Is monogamy good for the people? No. It creates prostitution. It creates like homosexuality. It creates so many different things that is destructive for society. Monogamy is the root cause of pretty much all of the world's problems. Okay? There's some guys on this channel that are like, no way, God said that, blah, blah, blah. No, he did not. Okay? No offense to you guys. But basically, why would God say that monogamy is it? Okay? And yet it causes all these problems. That basically is like saying that, yeah, the universe and God basically doesn't understand female nature. Oh, he understands female nature. He's just waiting around for us to figure it out. Okay? And there's a lot of mistranslations in whichever scripture you deem as holy. No offense, again, to everyone. But I'm just stating my experience of life, my experience studying like tens of thousands of case studies when it comes to women. And the only thing I want to create is men of high value. I want to create men who are confident, who are committed, who live voluntary celibacy until they're ready to take on 3 women for life, and they will never sleep with anyone else, ever. Full loyalty, 110%, and no deviation from the path. That's the kind of guy I want to have in my inner circle. How about you? This is the Men of High Value channel. Let's see. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.